Hi, I'm Brad Maule with Made in Nacogdoches, and today I want to bring you a couple of filmmakers, young filmmakers here in Nacogdoches, Texas, and they blew my mind when I talked to them because, we have these things that we think about kids today. They're this and they're that and all this. What I have found is that they were like, all you need to make a movie is a story and a camera and kindness. And I was blown away by that attitude of goodness that they have. Watch the podcast Made in Nacogdoches, like, share, and just enjoy yourself.
There ain't nothing wrong with me that you can't fix. There ain't nothing wrong with
Right.
me.
So, would you introduce yourself? Because you're Mason Dixon.
Yes, I am.
And you are Calvin Hardick.
I am.
Yes.
And so tell us.
So yeah, we're film students at Stephen F. Austin. We are in our second year right now. We're both from the Clear Lake area down by Houston. And I guess a current project we're working on, we're currently filming
big works.
the pilot episode for our comedy series In the Green.
It's about a mini golf course where so many shenanigans happen.
It's about the daily
great.
shenanigans of working in a dead-end job. We've both experienced and hope to translate into our TV show and hope other people will enjoy it.
We're taking the horrors of minimum wage work and kind of making it.
Finding a way to laugh at.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're currently up to right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want you to introduce yourselves. Tell me who you are, Calvin. Because you both speak as we, like little Siamese twins.
True. I'm gonna strangle you. Funny.
So just tell me who you are, Calvin. Where'd you come from? Where were you born?
I grew up in League City all my life. It's between Houston and Galveston. 45 minutes either way. It's kind of a sweet spot. Both went to the same high school, Clear Falls. I don't know. I guess I could talk about my love for film start.
Great.
I really didn't get into movie making until high school. It's like sophomore year kind of changed my life. Getting into AV1, I met some really cool people there. Actually, my roommate now, who I never would have guessed would be my roommate, my friends Tristan and Will, we went through that very beginner class together. And when we got the paper to sign up for this advanced class where we'd be broadcasting to the school, that was like a huge turning point in my life because being in that class was like, I love this. And we had a really great group where we could all come together and, fuse our ideas. And we just had pure free will to put whatever we wanted onto the screen.
Where had your life been before that?
What was that?
Like, where was your life before that? Because why would that? Were you unhappy before, or just looking for?
We're getting real off the bat.
True.
Get real.
I wasn't unhappy. I didn't have a trajectory, I think. Since like first grade to eighth grade, I was really into basketball, and that kind of looked like where my life was headed. I was really invested in that. I was working up the leagues, and then I got to a point where everyone just kind of sucked. Like, everyone was a jerk. I was like,
what age was this?
Like
junior high or
eighth grade. Yeah. I was playing up, so like there was a lot of older people, and it was like everyone's just these guys are mean. So that got cut off, and then I was like, well, I have no idea what I want to do. So kind of just glided through middle school, high school, up until that class where I was like, this is what I want to do.
Okay. That's a good place for me to ask Mason.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go back to that.
All right. Okay. So I guess, who am I? So from the beginning, I was born in San Diego, moved to Texas City, which is just outside League City, when I was 3 years old, and then moved to League City when I was in high school. And we both met, or I guess I'll start a little earlier than that. Like, I feel like I've always been like somebody who's wanted to tell stories. Before it was videos, it was comic books. Starting at the age of probably 4, I would just make comic books. I still have the bulk of them. I'm really happy I've kept them. Just over a decade of just all these comic books I made from ages 4 to 14.
Wow.
And all these things. And so that was what I wanted to do up until I was probably 13 or 14. It was I want to be a comic book artist, and that's how I wanted to tell stories.
And when did you start that?
Probably since I started, drawing, 4 years old or something. I'm like, I want to make, 4-year-old making a comic book. It's pretty much unintelligible, but it's what I was doing.
I have quite a few of those myself.
Sounds like a bestseller.
I mean, hey, I'll publish them someday. And it was fun now. Even some of the story ideas I've had then have greatly, evolved over the years, and they're now movies I want to make and stuff like that. So that was creatively where I was at for the bulk of my life. And then spring break of 7th grade, I think I was 13, and my family, we went back to California to visit some family just for a week. And we went to, we paid for this one, but my family was like, y'all want to go to like Disney World or Universal or something? And me and my brother were kind of like, Disney, but Universal Studios sounds kind of awesome. And, and that's the Hollywood Universal Studios, like where they're actually making movies there. And so my parents were able to get us like the backstage kind of behind the scenes tour. And we would go to Universal Studio, and of course you do the whole theme park and stuff. But then it's like, we're going on the back lot now. We're going to all these prop rooms and meeting actual filmmakers. We went on the set of a sitcom that they were filming. And like, I can easily narrow it down to that day where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do forever now. So like, I know like a lot of people don't have that, I would say most people don't have that, where it's just like, you just kind of slowly work your way into the film, kind of into loving film. But I think instantly, and I've always liked movies, but instantly on that day was like, I want to be here so badly.
Wow, you had an epiphany.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was like, we got to California, we went to Universal Studios, and we were staying at my cousin's, my aunt and uncle's house for the rest of that week. I came back, the day we got back from Universal Studios, I wrote like a 5-page script of like a horror movie, and me and my cousins filmed it that week. Wow. And it's still available on YouTube if you can.
What did you film it on?
Hard
phone?
Yeah, just on my phone camera. And then after that, I got like a cheap little camcorder, and I started making stuff on that. And then from after that, I did like YouTube videos with my brother and my dad and whoever else I could get. And I did that for a couple of years until I got to high school and met these guys, and we were on our school's broadcast, making videos once a week, and we were pretty much given free reign. Make your 2-minute package for this week, and the entire school has to watch it because the school had to watch it in their like advisory period because there was like announcements on it.
Yeah,
but we could tack on whatever we wanted. So that was probably the second biggest like encouragement in filmmaking. Is for 2 years of our lives, we had a guaranteed audience of our school of 4,000 people.
Wow.
4,000 people got to see our, they were kind of forced to, but, our videos were pushed out to people, and we got feedback, and that was like, this is what it feels like to have an audience.
Wow.
And our teacher was great. Like we had a whole closet full of cameras like that and equipment and all this stuff that
you would not expect.
High schoolers should not be handling these kinds of cameras. But and we had our teacher just let us like anything could fly really. It was like, just don't be weird.
So you walked into that class, the AV class, What did you think was going to happen?
Well, when we first got the paper, it was like, this is an advanced class where you'll have the opportunity to be on camera. Like,
Did you know him yet?
No.
Nope.
I didn't know him at all.
All right.
But the people I knew in AV knew him. So it was like, I knew of him.
Mutual friends.
Yeah.
Who are young and in one of your classes right now.
Yes. Tristan and Hayden. Yeah. But yeah, it was like, you're going to be in this advanced class if you want. You'll be on camera. Whole school's going to see it. We'll be making videos. And I remember sitting there with me, Tristan, and Will, just all like, we all were really nervous, and we're like, do we really want to do this? Like, we're going to be on camera in front of the whole school, and it's going to, like...
Had you ever been on camera before?
No, I was a completely different person. Like, I was completely, like, socially inept, I think. Like, really anxious. But, yeah, I remember sitting there, and we were like, the moment we were like, yeah, we should do this, that was, like... huge, because once that started, the ball was like, I want to do this. Seeing the passion other people had for making videos and stuff, and getting to collaborate as a huge group, it was great.
So were the other kids that had been in there, were they more knowledgeable than you were, or?
There were some people a grade above us, but
The answer you're giving me is no. Okay.
Well, we started as juniors working with seniors who had already been in this for a year or two.
You're in the class for 2 years, and
I don't quite think they had the same vision to it as we did.
There's one or two that we've kept up with and would love to work with again, but they were kind of like almost like the people hovering over us, being like, y'all's videos are kind of weird. They were not, for the most part, on the same wavelength, except for 2 or 3 of them who I still, I enjoy them to this day.
Michael, I miss you.
Michael and George.
Oh, George,
yeah, it was a bit of a different situation for me getting that paper. The class was called Night Vision.
Yeah.
Or the Clear Falls Nights.
Oh, okay.
So play on words there.
Or KNI.
Yes.
KV.
And so I got the paper, and this is going to completely shock you, but you may not know this. I like attention. So I know. Take a deep breath.
I don't know that, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really like attention.
Okay.
And I will admit that. And so I took the paper. Yep, I'll be on camera. Yes, I prefer to be on camera. And I think I was on camera every single week for 2 years doing something.
Yeah.
Lots of, improv type material and scripted material and all.
Sorts of
Acting was probably the thing I did most for those 2.
So how did you guys not buckle under to the seniors and go, well, gosh, maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't be doing the things I'm doing? Because they were telling you it wasn't funny or whatever.
I don't think we've ever had a problem with people not getting our vibe, I guess. We always, we're not doing it for you. We're doing it for us because we like it.
I think we had a mutual bond of like, this is the type of stuff we want to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it and put it out there. And we don't really...
We found the crowd of people that kind of gets our stuff. And so we make movies with them. And so we kind of just do it for ourselves and for each other. And that's like to this day. It's like, I don't want to make a movie that's not for me in a way, and for the people working on it in a way. And I hope everything we make finds an audience, but I'm not going to pander to a specific audience. I want to make the movie and the audience to
have it naturally find it. Yeah.
So what happens if a big studio comes in and says, yeah, but we got all these people that are going to mold you and shape you?
Well,
I've talked about that.
Are you going to walk when they offer you $20 million?
They offer me a $20 million check. I will do whatever you want. This is where
we were just negotiating
this
here.
is where my moral compass falls out the window. Because
there is definitely a line of like...
Because at the end of the day, and guess what? I'll take my $20 million and I'll use $10 million of those dollars to make the most artistically pure, from my heart movie I've ever made.
Okay.
Exactly.
But I mean, I don't... On top of making that for yourself, I also, I guess, don't think there's anything wrong with taking film for a job. Because here, another thing I kind of didn't quite mention in kind of my backstory of the thing is I've worked in live production all throughout high school. Thanks to our school district had a really great sports filming program. So I started filming football for them. 2 months into that, I started filming for Rice University, their football program. I've done stuff for University of Michigan. And I'm hoping to, continue that employment, which is that's like film work in the sense of this is a job. I don't find a lot of creative fulfillment in that, but I don't see that as like creatively bankrupting myself and being like, oh, you should focus on something that's more creatively pure to you. Because there is a certain point where it's like, well, you do have to pay the bills.
Yep. Yeah, gotta do something.
I would be in a world where the $20 million check never comes. I would be happy to make movies on the $0 budgets for the rest of my life, because it's not.
I'd be fulfilled.
The money would be awesome, but that's not why I'm doing it. And I think that's kind of indicative of where we want to take things, is like we're making movies because we love movies. If the money comes, that's awesome, but we can't rely on that because it's not a reliable industry, honestly.
No.
In my opinion.
God, I hope you do that, because that's the perfect motivation. People that go out to those places for limousines and red carpets are failures. They're destined to failure. That's great. So the day you guys met, do you remember that?
I couldn't remember exactly the day.
I don't think we really formed like a real like bond until
our second year,
until senior year.
Did you kind of circle around each other?
We have the same kind of friends and stuff, and we knew of each other. But senior year, there were a handful of projects where we just ended up working together on it.
Yeah.
And one really big one, where we spent one Saturday just 8 hours driving around town filming this whole thing. And I believe that was the day I was like, hey, I'm going to this place called Stephen F. Austin.
That's
well, he didn't know where
today.
He didn't know where he was going. I'm like, they have a film program. You should try that out. And he was like, okay.
Yeah. Wow. That was a great day.
So let me reverse things. Would you introduce Mason to the audience here? Tell us about him instead of him telling me.
Oh, geez.
And he's got to get his turn too.
All right.
He's not here right now. Okay. This is all secret, so don't worry about it.
How do I even start this?
Start it? Nope, I can't.
Shut up. You're not here right now.
I'm thinking how I'd introduce myself from your point of view.
I just say Mason is an extremely creatively driven person that is very charismatic and has a very clear view of what he wants to make. And script writing just comes immediately to him. We're working on a project or something. He taps me on the shoulder. He's like, I got an idea. Like, he is the idea guy. Great dude. Pretty very charismatic.
Old jerk.
I hate this guy.
Possible for you to be quiet, isn't it?
It's not. I'm sorry.
But
mute this microphone.
We're getting deeper and deeper here.
I think he really was one of the people who broke me out of my shell. Seeing all the things he was making junior year was really like, wow, like this guy is really just going and doing what he wants to do and not really caring. He's on screen. He's not like nervous up there or anything. He's just riffing off people, because we do like man on the street videos where we just walk around like mic'd up talking to people. It was very inspiring, and it was like, I want to be like that. Like I don't want to live like anxious all the time, and like I want to make stuff I want to make without being held back by that. And I think seeing how easily stuff comes to him and seeing how creatively free he was really, really cool. And
so was he like the other half of the circle for you, kind of thing?
Yeah, I
in terms
think so.
of
Yeah,
cracking you open.
Yeah.
Mason, would you like to introduce Calvin?
I would love to introduce Calvin. So, kind of like you said, two sides of the coin, especially when we started working on, because we had our few assignments together senior year, but especially in your class when we were together, and it's like us two spearheading these big projects you were assigning us and always wanting to take it one step, like, let's take it one step too far in a good way, kind of thing.
Ask for
and through that,
forgiveness later.
it's been realizing like this is like, I might have the ideas. He's always contributing too, but this is the guy that kind of makes the ideas like happen. I come to him, I'm like, okay, crazy thing. Could we make the camera do this, flip around into this shot? And he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And it's always, he's got all the, so I'd say he's the more technical side of like, taking these crazy, stupid ideas I have and being like, yeah, we can do this. We can make this happen. And you creatively, you have no shortage of ideas as well. We're very much so on the same wavelength when, even when writing scripts, he's got, hey, what if this happened? What if this happened? I think we have a good synergy of, I'll have a script and then he'll just infuse it with his, his side of things. And I think that only kind of enhances what we do, and that mix with the technical of having just a vast technical knowledge of things that may never make sense to me, in terms of audio and video and camera settings and all this stuff. Because I can like, I know enough to get me by. I could work a camera in my hands, but when it comes to, if we're on a set, I see how the image looks in my mind, but only he can kind of make it real, I would say, or at least of the people I've worked with.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I don't think most people know how to make a movie,
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. But I think it could come to you really easy. And it's just, the bottom line of making a movie, do you have a camera? Do you have a pencil and paper? If you can write a script with what you have in front of you and you point and shoot, that's all you have to do to start. That's all we did to start.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to know anything about cinematography or acting or anything. If you have a subject and you have a camera, just start shooting something, and that's all you need at first. And all the other stuff will come later. Just have a story to tell.
I think it can be very overbearing when people look at it and want to start to make a thing, and they're, watching YouTube videos, and it's like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And it's like, there's so much technical things you can learn. Mm-hmm. But if you have a story you want to tell on a camera, you can make it happen. All you really need is to hit record and,
they get lost in the forest.
Well, yeah. And I think that's a pretty big pitfall of people going in, specifically our age, people going into film now, wanting to get careers in it, and they lose the step one, which is like, tell a story you care about that means something to you. And, don't, like, that is first and foremost. And then you can know everything there is to know about a camera and lighting setups, and you can have $1 million to make a movie. But if it's a story you don't care about, a story that has no kind of heart to it, doesn't have a part of you in it, then it's like, this is an equipment showcase. This isn't like, I think, show me the story. That's something I don't ever want to lose, really.
One of the hardest things about class is that to get people to just tell a story that they know inside, because all stories have been told. I've said this many times, but it hasn't been told by you, your DNA. Yes. And if you guys you're doing it. That's why you're on this podcast, because you're my little special students or whatever, even though I only had you for a little while. But, there's sometimes people come along and you're like, I see 20 kids a class or whatever every year. So a total of 40 kids or whatever. And every once in a while you're like, ooh, look at that. That's possibly going to work out,
Yeah.
And everybody else is just kind of having fun and doing whatever. But you guys were definitely different. The minute you came in, I was like, whoa.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Part of that maybe your teacher in high school or something.
I think we owe a lot to our high school program. In terms of, like, just having that opportunity to get that much consistent practice for several years.
And the audience was such a huge part of, like, okay, we will have people to watch this.
So did you become famous in your high school?
He definitely did.
He
knew every single soul in the building.
We're verging into peaked in high school territory right now. But I was known. I enjoyed the attention.
Okay, is that a good thing?
Yes, no, it was a very good thing at the time, but now it's like that was fun, and there's a lot of great connections made through there. But now it's, I don't want to say kind of a rung down the ladder, but it's definitely been an adjustment where it's like, you don't have a guaranteed audience anymore. You got your friends and your family and your few Instagram followers, but we don't, our audience is undeniably smaller right now than it was before. Yes. Even though, and which is where some frustration can sometimes come in, because it's like, well, I'm better now. Like, I wish y'all could see this.
If only these same people saw where we're at.
Which brings up that film festival you guys did, or that evening with.
Yes.
That was movies. I mean, I was just like, this is what I've dreamed about. And you guys just did it. And you put out a couple.
We're going to be really excited this next coming year.
Like a crazy plan for this year. But
finally.
I know. That was, we want to do it all 4 years we're here.
Yeah.
That was, of the 4 short films we made last year, I think that movie fest we did was more important than all of them. Because we got to show off 2 of the short films we made there, but like taking the opportunity to be like, we need to create a community event and like give an outlet for people to show off their movies and just be weird and not have it attached to the school in any way. Like that, I think that's the most like important thing we did last year.
I agree.
Both for ourselves and for...
So just so people know what we're talking about here, tell me what you guys did.
So we had the idea in like last January, and we were like, we should like do a screening for our short film, because we were planning another short film we were about to shoot, and we had no way to kind of show it off super well. So we were like, we should have a screening for that, and we can get some other people in on it, and it can be this kind of like crazy, weird film fest, and we can do whatever we want, and we can get Susu's Popcorn to be there. Yeah. And like that was our plan. And then it's slowly we kind of get put on the back burner. And then like 3 weeks before when it would be, we were like, hold on, we should actually do this and throw it together really quick. So like, we're going to call it Movie Fest. And we reached out to every director we knew, and we said, hey, just give us anything.
Give us your stuff.
You want to do.
We want to show it.
And we took all their stuff, and, we put it up on the screen, and we didn't get the Susu sponsorship. So we went in and we bought, $50 worth of giant Susu's popcorns bag and gave it out for free.
Did you ask them for a sponsorship?
We
Did you hint at it?
We hinted at it, and they weren't picking up what we're putting down. This year,
they were like,
they're the nicest people on earth.
I love them so much.
You can have bulk for this much.
I mean, it was an extra deal we got, but
yeah.
Year 2, Susu sponsorship is going to happen.
Well, I want a sponsorship too.
Oh, so. Yeah. So we'll be reaching out, and it'll be so like, and that was a big part of it too. We were like, we put this together in 3 weeks. We're going to plan this thing for 6 months, this to go around, and it's going to be just so much better than it ever could have been.
Yeah.
Well, the energy in there, because it was not a school function all the time, it was so different.
That's exactly what we wanted.
And
we want to draw people from theater and from the School of Music, and it's because I can't speak for this at other schools, but it seems a little bit here that it's film school is very much so like right here, and it's a bubble, but you can't just make a movie with film students, in my opinion. We need actors, and we need musicians and dancers and all this, and they're all right here on campus, and nobody's reaching out to them.
Pretty much under one roof.
Yeah, all under one roof, or in the same 2 buildings. Or we need graphic designers and stuff like that too, and all at the art school. And it's like, this is the only time in our lives that thousands of artists are all going to be living together under similar schedules, and we can all work together right now in these 4 years before we have to go off and do whatever. And so the whole Movie Fest thing is taking advantage of that and trying everything we can to bring everyone together.
Has there been any blowback? Everybody's welcoming and excited about it?
Everyone's been like pretty supportive of it. The school's been great. They let us rent out their theater to do it. And, there's some really helpful people there. There have been a few kind of moments of like, people are like, hey, we should involve this, and this administration-wise, and it's kind of...
It's like we're starting to get into school territory.
They'll leave us alone and do us our own thing, but like, we strictly want this to be our thing, the filmmakers' thing, because the second you involve administration, there's all this, and make it like an actual registered film festival. There's all this red tape and all this stuff that I personally hate. And it's the reason we've not submit to any film festivals hardly. We've submit to 2, and those have been great. But there's a reason we haven't like gone to some of these other film festivals, because there's just all of these requirements and barriers and stuff, and it's like
hoops to jump through.
Hoops to jump through. So it's like, just let us make our movies. Movie Fest is just let us show your movie. I don't care. We don't care what it is. Just let us show it.
And we want other people to have that too. Like you can show what you made. There's no fences to go over. You
remember that $20 million I offered you a while ago?
You're pulling out the check right now.
No. It would be Confederate money or something, but monopoly money. But
there we go.
The same lesson you're learning right now is the lesson you're going to learn over and over again. Most of life is high school.
Yep.
Both good and bad.
I remember you saying that in class too.
Yeah.
And
you have to, right now you're real clear about it. So I hope you stay clear about it. Like once you let other people start controlling you.
No, I think we want to stay far away from that.
Like I said,
because that had such a little new age here, but that had such a clean energy to it that night. It was just spontaneous, it was raw, and it was, just the energy in the room was great.
Yeah, we were. I was
just you wait.
I was thrilled with how that event works, and we want the second one. We want a full house. We want this to be just everybody comes, and we all get to see. We're talking about having some like live music there and getting some people not even in the college, but just Nacogdoches locals interested, because it's it's the whole city too.
That was cool about the other one. We got an alumni.
When we got Chad, you know.
Oh yeah, you know him, right?
What's his name? I just know him as Chad, but he
makes short films.
And he graduated from here, and it was just great to have him too, because he's like, I graduated, but I'm still, he's an adult. Yeah. He's a grown adult, and he's still doing this, and hopefully we'll have him back this year too, because it's not just a student thing. Anybody from anywhere, as long as you come to the festival, you can submit.
Well, how are you going to get the word out to the other people? Because people, are kind of strangely walled off from each other a lot of times.
So we're definitely going to get the jump on advertising this year. We have a lot of, advertising online, just whether it be like, Facebook groups and all sorts of local things, and flyers probably on every building in this town when the time comes, and really just getting as many people as we possibly can, and advertising to, most importantly, the School of Theater and the School of Music as well, because I think those are, if I could get any crowd of people more involved, it would be those two.
Yeah.
And we have people kind of that we know from both of those places who are going to kind of spread the word and their own bubbles, and hopefully bring everyone together with that again this year.
Do you use sound recording technology, people? Or you have to mess them?
They're
cool. I know you had a couple of actors.
Yeah, those are some of my... Or you can go ahead.
We have Alex Brown, who's a good friend of ours. He's a composer. He did the music on our horror short, Refractive Error. He was great to work with. He's a really cool guy. We also know Nick and Austin. They act in our stuff, but they're in bands and stuff. They're really great too.
Yeah.
We've worked with Kayla. She's great.
It's just a lot of, I don't know, and it's kind of a trade-off thing. We met Alex because he came to us and he was like, hey, saw y'all's short film. I composed the music for this dance that's going to happen. Dance Works, I think it was called, with the School of Dance as well. So he's like, if y'all come record this and make me a video of it, like, that would be awesome. So we record his videos, and we'll, hopefully do it for him again this year. And he's our sound guy now. It's kind of, we have this trade-off of, all just working to improve each other's projects. And that's how we're going to get stuff done. And that's how we want to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going to be in 10 years, you think? What city? What?
I think we both plan on potentially moving to Austin after college.
And I would be totally fine with that, but I used to think about this so much, and this is kind of like maybe not the answer you're looking for. I try to think about the future like that as little as possible now. And it's just do the next project. Because every time I've made a plan for years and years in the future, this is how it's going to go. It doesn't happen. Something comes up. I feel like if you make a plan, it's cursed to not happen.
Yeah.
For something like that. So
kind of just got to write it out and see.
I think the best answer, in 10 years, we will still be making movies.
Yes.
Doesn't matter where we are. If we're back in our hometown, or we're in Austin, or we're in New York, we will still be making movies with whatever people we have and whatever money we have, even if that is $0, because that's how we want to do it.
I think that's the right answer. Be present this moment. That's all we have, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because,
I mean, I'm only 20 years old and already feels like a day goes by instantly. And it's like you do not have much time to do what you want to do. So you might as well just do it while you can in the moment.
And I think the whole thing of just doing our thing and keep making movies, I'm not particularly interested in chasing this career off to Hollywood and New York, and I'm not interested in finding them. My mindset for it is, if we're good enough and if people like our stuff enough, they'll find us.
We'll come.
And I know there are probably people out there that see that as a really inactive, way of getting things done. But I mean, that's how I'm not going to make myself miserable, working as a PA for 20 years and then never getting to direct my movie. I'm just going to direct my movie however I can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I don't, and that works for some people, and some people are fine, going and doing a career like that. But I firmly believe if we're good enough, people will find us someday, and we'll earn our way that way.
So, speaking of the other people you work with and stuff, explain your generation to me, if you can, the zeitgeist of the times, because I look across the room at students that are 18, 20 years old, and I'm like, you are such a mystery to me. I give them my best jokes, and they're just like, yeah.
I feel like humor has kind of devolved a lot over the past couple of years.
Yeah, mine's sort of Shecky Green or something. I don't know, but
how do you explain our generation?
I think I'm noticing this from like the film school, and I could look back on this and be like, oh, Mason was totally talking out of his ass at this part. But from the way I will try to describe it right now and kind of loop this back into filmmaking is that like people are way too scared to just be themselves now, like anymore. And that's always been the case, but it feels like that more now. And there's so many like people putting all these layers of like irony on top of each other and hiding behind all these layers and stuff. But like,
is that because of the internet being everything out there forever? Kind of
probably. I don't even think you could narrow it down to one factor, but it's definitely one of them. And it's just like be who you are and make a movie that is who you are.
Do they know who they are these days?
And I think a lot of people don't get to find out who they are, or kind of suppress who they are so much to the point that they've forgotten.
Yeah.
Just due to like, it's a harsh world out there. I won't like sugarcoat that. And I think that keeps a lot of people from, becoming kind of your truest selves. And that's something I still like, try to work on every day. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
There's so many like stupid everyday things we do just because we want to be like perceived in a certain way. And I think that's...
I've been really breaking out of that for the
especially
past 2 years of like consciously making the decision to really be like, no, I'm not going to like not do this because I feel like weird about it or something, you know? It's like I have the opportunity to do this, I'm going to take it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people could, I guess from our generation specifically, could stand to like unapologetically be who you are and be nice. Those two things is like...
Ooh, that's a key right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, and that's... You're going to get me ranting about student filmmaking now.
Just remember, all your film friends are going to see this.
They're all going to see this. I obviously won't say anything specific. And the community at Stephen F. Austin is great. There's so many great filmmakers, and they're all... It's a good community. But this is just kind of a generally speaking thing. I said earlier, the number one rule is, have a story and have a camera, and that's all you need. The number one rule is actually be nice. It does not matter if you're working on a summer feature, or if you're here at the school, if you're working on a student feature of $0, or if you're working on a movie that costs $300 million to make, there's zero reason, no matter how much stress or how much money is on the line, that you should not be nice to the people you are making movies with and to the people in your community. Even if, I know it's for efficiency's sake, but there's this whole thing here where it's like, and not here, in filmmaking in general, where it's the director is untouchable on the film set. Do not talk to them. You talk to the person in charge of you, and they talk to who's in charge of them, and them, and them, and then they talk to the director. And I think that is like, and there will be people, PA comes up to a director and asks a question, you don't do that, you're done. I think that's the stupidest thing in the world.
I hate that hierarchical.
I get leaving the director in the zone, and they need to be in the zone. But you can't tell me that you as a director cannot turn to the PA, acknowledge them, answer their question really quick, and get back to it. There's a lot of these like rules on the film set that just sound like being not nice to me. And I don't think we need those. We do not use those on film set or on our film sets because it's just like...
On our set, I feel like it's a family. Like, you're not gonna yell at your like little cousin who just came up to you to ask a question, like, or something.
Or just everyone's an equal.
Yeah,
there's a hierarchy on a lot of these. When some of these students sometimes get really into the roles of things. I'm the director, I direct. I'm the camera operator, I do the camera operator. We never had that. It's there is a director and there's a camera operator, but if they need to switch for some reason or something needs to happen, we're fluid and we're not...
Everyone's constantly moving around and helping each other. And
we're all just people making a movie.
See, you guys actually are explaining your generation in some ways to me, and maybe you guys are tapping into something that we're missing because we're older, So people are not trying to hurt you or anything, but they're just trying to repeat what they learned.
Right.
So you guys don't, I think you should feel free to break that,
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel right, if it's not, what a concept to be nice.
Yeah. Seriously.
And that's another reason I don't want to go chasing off to New York or Hollywood without, if an opportunity arises to do something there. But I'm talking about going there with no plan, no money, nothing. I don't think that's worth it because, people go there for one of two reasons. They're like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to join the industry and I'm going to make my way up. And I don't want to do that because the industry is really not nice from what I've heard about things. I've never been, but just from everyone I've heard, they're like, oh, this is miserable and everybody's mean to each other. Or the second option, I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to change the industry and I'm going to bring a new change about things. And I think that's the more common one. And I think that's the far less likely to happen. If someone does it and that happens one day, that'd be awesome, but it hasn't yet.
It's just a matter of time till they break you.
We have to make Hollywood nice.
And so I think, so instead of that, and here's my approach to it, build our own thing.
Yeah.
We don't need to tear down the old system. We need to work on our new system. Don't even pay mind to what's going on over there. Just build your new thing. And if it's good enough, it will stand the test of time, and we won't even have to worry about that old thing anymore.
And you'll be nice.
And you'll be nice.
Everyone will be nice to each other.
Wow.
It'll be beautiful.
I say that everyone we have ever worked with has been very nice here.
Yeah.
This is just general observations.
But a passionate one, apparently.
It is very passionate because there are moments where I see things and I'm like, this shouldn't be how it is. If this is what I saw at Universal Studios when I was 13, I wouldn't want to do this. And I think that's the big thing is, like, why would anyone want to work in such a hostile condition? Even if you're making the best movies in the world, it doesn't matter. It's just, you don't need to stoop to that level with a human being.
Yeah.
And that's my
It's
take
not
on
worth
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Silence is okay, too.
Silence is okay, especially after a passionate rant.
Yeah.
About
He does most of the talking.
No, why is it?
Oh, no.
Because it's almost like talking to one person when I talk to you, pals.
We share a lot of the same beliefs. I mean, yeah. I think I still have a remnant of, not, I don't know, like Flea being out there, but he does the words and I share those beliefs, and it's like he just says what I think all the time.
And you were on camera, right, in the high school?
Or
what?
Sometimes a decent amount.
I mean, you were like
in front of
the
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
And how was that for you?
It was crazy. At first, it was like, I really do not want to be on here, and I felt very like stiff and like cold, sweaty hands, like, but the more you do it, it's like, this is just a fun time. Like, you kind of start to ignore the camera, and it's like, let's just do what we're doing here and have fun with it, and the camera will record that. Who cares what people watching think, Yeah. But yeah, I don't know where that was going.
Yeah, it's...
What did that, when you were first of all, how did you get on the back lot of Universal? I mean, is that a ticket you can buy?
I don't know how they do it now, and especially because it's just like post-pandemic, I definitely don't know how they do it. But, yeah, it was just a behind-the-scenes tour, because you do the whole tram tour and you see the Jaws and all the other, like the normal...
A lot of actors are driving those trams.
Bates Motel and stuff, yeah. No, that was our guy. He was an actor. He showed us some of his projects. It was a really weird project too. It was like a Star Wars parody. There was like a lot of nudity in it. It was really like,
welcome to Hollywood.
What actor are you, dude? But no, and then after that, you get off the tram and you go to those giant sound stages and all their prop rooms and stuff.
And what happened? I mean, you went back there, and did you have that moment? Where were you when you had that moment, or was it
I don't know if I could have like the exact moment. It was just like the whole experience of going around and seeing all this throughout the whole day, and seeing all these different rooms and the film sets, and then kind of driving home from that was like that collective experience is what I want to do. There's like so I don't know if there's a single moment, but that whole afternoon.
What do your parents think about this stuff?
Parents are huge fans.
Yeah,
I think.
Thankfully, very supportive.
I'm very grateful to have parents that want to help me do this and make stuff, and they're very excited to see when we release
easily our biggest fans and supporters. My original actors, when I was little and didn't have anyone else, it was my little brother and my mom and my dad, and they're in all my old videos and stuff, and they'll continue to be. My father's going to be in the project that we're working on right now. And it's, so we definitely, I wouldn't be anywhere without their support for it. That's for sure.
And I think my parents played a huge role in, the creative style I kind of have built. My mom's an artist. She paints all the time. She makes beads. Our office is awesome. Like, it's just stacked with art supplies, and it's really cool every week seeing what she's working on. My dad did photography a little bit. And they both have very strange taste in like TV shows and movies, very like huge fans of David Lynch and stuff. So I think they played an important role on like forming the kind of media I like and the kind of stuff I want to make. I tend to want to make like more absurdist stuff. But yeah, I'm really grateful to have them.
Where'd this attention thing come from?
Me liking attention?
Yeah. Did somebody tell you that, or you told yourself that?
It's been made known to me that you seem to like being the center of attention sometimes, and I try not to be obnoxious about it, or at least try to be self-aware about it. But I always, whether it's acting in theater or acting on a camera or just acting with no audience and just messing around with people around me, like, I like to be doing bits. I like to be, messing around and making people laugh and stuff. That's kind of always been kind of a big part of my personality, and a much bigger part of my personality starting in high school.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. I used to be a little more introverted when I was younger, but that had pretty much entirely dissipated by the time we were in high school doing our stuff. And it was, you can go back and look at those videos. I'm not only am I in all of my videos, but anytime I'd walk in on somebody doing a video, I'd be like, "Hey, do you need someone else to be in this?" And I've worked my way into a project that I probably wasn't needed, but grateful to be a part of.
I think you added a lot to those.
I did what I could,
I'd say you were most of the runtime of the show, probably.
There was an episode here or there where I distinctly remember our teacher being like, "Okay, guys, it's not the Mason show.
Yeah,
we need some more variety here." And I was like, "Well, people like the Mason show." But that's, I get that.
So, is there anything left unsaid right now?
I don't know. I'm sure there is. I'm sure I'm going to walk out and be like, "Why didn't we talk about this?"
Well, that's my question. Why didn't you?
I don't know. Do we get to ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you reverse it? Okay, what question are we going to ask?
Just be nice.
I didn't think about this.
Of course. Now we don't have a question.
We should have done this.
I'm going to start talking and just see where it goes.
Just build something up.
So, in your years of, like, what hopes do you have for the future of the film industry and stuff? And I know you were just a part of it for such a long time, and you're still influencing it with all these young filmmakers to this day. But, like, what do you want to see? What's your hopes? Like, what do you want to see happen?
Interesting question, because I was just thinking about that today. I wish that there was a theater here, like a small, like used to when I first got to Los Angeles, there were small independent art theaters that you could go to, and they were $2 to go see them. So if there was a theater here where the college kids could come and just watch obscure, bizarre,
that would be awesome.
Films, I think it would go over gangbusters. But the future of film to me right now, because it swings back and forth, is independent features that actually mean something or do something to us, Instead of, I'm so tired of blockbusters and
sequels.
When we had a movie theater, I would look to go, and we would just look at each other and go, there's just nothing
here.
It's a babysitter, but other than that, that's all that's doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and there something I read recently was like modern, postmodern, and I forget what the next one is, pan-modern or something in filmmaking. So they were talking about modern filmmaking or whatever was like in the 1950s or something. And the films were very clear in their morality, like black and white, this is good, you're the bad guy. And then after that came something where everything kind of got kind of messy in terms of good guys and bad guys and more gray areas.
Right.
And there was also a sort of a cynicism to it.
Mm-hmm.
And like those movies, maybe you dabbed a tear in the 1950s or 40s and 50s.
Right.
Then in the 60s, you didn't dare show emotions or cry. You were ironic and cynical.
Right.
And then this pan-modern, post-modern filmmaking is like everything everywhere, where they're still cynical and still a little acerbic, I guess.
Right.
But they also have genuine emotions and feelings.
Right.
Do you guys believe in that, all that stuff?
I think films have generally kind of followed a trend similar to that. And I think nowadays, like where we're heading with that is that there's, and movies like that you just mentioned where they are kind of very hopeful. And there's a lot of hopeful movies coming out.
You almost look naive kind of.
Yeah, but I think the world could use a little bit right there. And I know things have always been, we seem like, this is the worst time right now, but they've been saying it's the worst time right now for all of time.
For years.
But, that I think that's being felt right now by a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are looking for some hope and some laughs and just kind of to see some of themselves in movies. And I think that's a good direction that a lot of independent films are heading.
It's kind of been a long time, actually.
Yeah. It's just like people need hope. Make a hopeful movie. Everybody's so upset, so let's try to make something funny and make them laugh. And that's why I hate when people discredit just straight silly comedy movies that don't necessarily have a lot of emotional depth. But it's, to someone it might. To someone that could be the movie that, cheers them up after, whatever happens. Or there's so many stupid movies that I love that aren't emotionally profound in any way that still have greatly emotionally affected me because of the positive influence they've had on me. So I think, especially a lot of the stuff we like to make is just like pure comedy. We don't get very serious with anything.
Yeah.
We try to have a bit of a heart in there, but it's just pure silliness. But I think that people can find their own emotional resonance within something like that, and you don't necessarily have to shoehorn that into your movie.
Yeah,
which is another thing I think a lot of people try to do and ultimately fail at.
Is that like formulaic or something?
Just making it's a lot of this is more on the negative side, is making a sad movie for the sake of making a sad movie. There are so many movies, a lot of independent cinema, and this is one of its just like kind of in general, it's things I dislike about it in some regard, is that there's a lot of movies that I will sometimes watch and just be like, well, that was just miserable.
That was like they're trying to make you cry.
You just for the hell of it. You just thought of the most sad things you could think of,
and kill that dog,
and they just made scenes of all of
the dog.
Like there's no hope to this, and I'm all right. I love dark and gritty and sometimes a cynical movie, but it sometimes feels like that can rub off on filmmakers our age, and then we'll get a student film, and you've had to watch hundreds of students' films. You know the one where it's like,
all those.
Oh, you watch it, and this person dies, and it's miserable the whole time, and in the end, they kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, hold on. Like, I don't know. First of all, we're like, I don't think some of us are fully grasping the concepts that we're trying to go for here, and if we are, it's just like, you can find a way to draw those emotions out through smaller things. It's making a movie that's sad, and it's sad because the person's partner leaves them and is a drug addict, and then they kill themselves. That's like, and you know what I'm talking about. There are so many student short films that are stuff like that, and it's like, that's like if you were a comedian and you tried to tickle me. And it's like that's like, that's not how you do it. It's so fake. You're just trying to you just flash an image on the screen that says "be sad," and I'll feel the same way as when you do something like that.
It comes back to the thing of like making a movie because you want to make the movie and not because you want to make it to make the people cry. Like, not like you're gonna watch that dog die because I want you to.
Yeah.
You're making this because it means something to you and you want to show that.
Well, and they haven't actually killed anybody or been left or anything. They're just like
movies that student films. I mean, you've heard this. You were probably one that said it to me, and I'm regurgitating it. Student films that use firearms and do not properly understand the, like, if we're sitting here and we were like, hey, this is a great podcast guy, and I pull out a real gun and put it on the table, the atmosphere of this room would change.
Well, yeah, I'd pull up my gun and shoot you, you know. So
there was like a gun is like a terrifying.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic of anything, and that's not really you know how often guns pop
they
up
say,
in student film.
if you put a gun on the wall in a set, you to use it.
Yeah,
so it's there.
gun.
Ibsen's
And
Chekhov.
then they use it, but it's like, do you quite understand what having a gun in this situation would entail? And even not the gun stuff. Do you understand what like how carefully you need to be when depicting suicide in a film? Because that is a heavy topic that I don't know if you could do justice to in a short film that is due in 2 weeks for your beginner film class.
Yeah.
That's just
serious.
I'm sure someone could do it. But
Well, and that brings up AI, because I think there's a case recently. By the way, I don't have a gun, so
okay.
but
And
you know, there was
really
some
nervous.
AI sort of, or one of those AI programs sort of advised somebody to how to commit suicide.
Yeah,
heard
it told them how to do it, and like, because it's an echo chamber. It's just going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And it really just went down a rabbit hole and I guess spelled it out.
Yeah.
So tell me about AI.
You can start that one. We have the exact same views, but I'll let you do that one.
Explain it to an old person.
Absolutely hate generative AI. I think it's completely creatively destructive. Like, I mean, people aren't even making their own stories now. They're just like, give me an idea. And they're like, you write this whole thing. And then it shows, if you make an AI script, it's going to be like, what is, like, it's soulless, you know? Mm-hmm. There's absolutely no human input into that. And it's just like the trash to me. I don't know.
The absolute farthest AI needs to go, and this is in any aspect of society, is it needs to take away menial tasks that require no creative input stuff. So to put it in a
like
filmmaking was stuff. We were talking about the Adobe kind of, it has some audio kind of fixing buttons and, you know, clean up audio, and it kind of cleans up the audio, and it's amazing at that. And you could do that manually, but that's time you could be spent, making creative decisions.
Yeah.
And for stuff, I mean, because AI it's a spectrum, there's almost any tool you use in Adobe, in Premiere Pro, because that's what we edit on. We'll put on a thing that makes, make the scene kind of glow or something if we want like a shiny effect. Well, we didn't hand design that effect and put it on there. So it obviously is using artificial intelligence in some way to detect in what ways things will refract and shine. And that's okay, I feel. Yeah. Because that is a tool we are using to creatively enhance our project. But I feel like AI took a major misstep because it's being used by a lot of people now it's been the reverse. When people talked about the future, they used to be, we'll have robots do all the simple tasks so we can focus on being artists and creatives.
Now it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
A lot of people I feel are trying to take it the opposite, where we have robots, we're having AI photo contests and stuff, and we're feeding the work of actual artists into AI to generate images, which is a whole other issue in and of its own. And for what? So we can spend more time at work? People working office jobs, that's that's what we need to be giving to AI, these menial tasks, and we can all...
Not to mention how environmentally destructive it is. It's
Right.
like building a Death Star in the middle of,
I don't even know the full...
or whatever.
They're doing those data centers all over the country right now.
I've seen
And they
stories
suck
where
electricity.
people's water supply are getting like poisoned by these huge mega stations next to their houses, and it's horrible. Facebook.
But us humans, if we can find a way to mess it up or make it evil or whatever, there's always Dr. Evils out there.
Yes. So I think AI, there needs to be major corrections made. Or one of two things. We make major corrections and kind of put it in its place, which it needs to be. Or like, let's ramp this up and let's just get this to like the Terminator phase where we're just fighting robots at this point. And like shooting down Amazon delivery drones, because that we need to either like, let's stop this or let's get this going.
Let's get to the
But let's
fight
not
already.
be in this terrible limbo state where artists are now fearing for their career over AI.
Yeah.
So that's, and I, just for the sake of this being released publicly, I do not condone the destruction of Amazon property. Don't shoot down an Amazon drone. We'll be good.
Got it.
But yeah, you get what I'm saying.
I do. I understand.
So that's, we're definitely, we will never use AI to make a creative decision that we wouldn't make.
Well, I think the key was it's soulless,
Completely
so far,
soulless.
Entirely.
So far, there will be somebody saying, what about the rights of the robot? You're going to meet those people pretty soon.
I don't intend on changing.
Yeah, me neither.
We are.
I don't care.
We're human, and we're all what makes us human. And every,
Well,
I don't
think anything will ever be able to replicate the human mind.
People are like, where do you draw the line? Because like, oh, you're going to be, because the robots are only going to get better, right? And who knows? Someday we won't even be able to differentiate them from humans. But I am like a firm believer, robot will never have a soul. There are humans and there are robots, and the robots are below the humans.
Where does that soul come from? Is there a spark or something? What is it?
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Well, that's getting
I
like
can tell you.
religious
I can
beliefs.
tell you AI doesn't have it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so you can tell when it's not there, but you can't really tell.
Yeah, because however human beings have come to be and evolve and be so chemically complex in their brains, and feeling these kind of connections we can't even explain, love and all this stuff that if you get philosophical with it, robot can only emulate that. However complex a computer is, the human brain is infinitely more
4 billion
chemically
steps
complex, and there's,
like
I said, all these years of development and change. I don't think AI will. It'll get pretty damn close to emulating that one for one, but it will always.
It's already getting pretty scary. Like, I've had an incident that I never thought I would have, where it's like it actually gets me. And I'm like, hold on, there was that video like
Whoa,
AI
what?
Being
it's
tricked
like,
by AI videos,
especially videos that are like AI replicating like a
Ring
nature cam,
doorbells.
or doorbell cam, or like a Ring or a nature cam. They're extremely realistic now, and I have to go back and I'm like, hold on, what was up with that? It's like,
I've heard interesting takes that content that does not use AI will be seen in the same way that like whole food alternatives are seen now. Or people will buy, in the same way people buy this, it's non-GMO, it's natural. People are going to go see movies because it's made by humans. It's natural. I want to go support that.
It's a good name for your company, Made by Humans.
Made by humans. Let's put a disclaimer on everything we ever make, made by humans. And
some movies that started.
There was a movie that just came out that movies are starting to do that. Made by humans. That is really the credit.
Yeah.
Some movies coming out nowadays.
And no robots were hurt in the making of this movie or something?
Yeah, nor no humans were unemployed because of robots in this movie.
I did hear about a major studio bringing a bunch of just like extras or actors or whatever, wannabe actors, into a room and paying them $100 and filming them.
Right.
And they're using it into infinity and beyond now.
Yeah.
Because they just put their faces, like when you need extras, you just don't need it.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It's like
I
scanning
think there is
yourself in the
something
Matrix.
Well, you've sold your soul.
Yeah.
I think there is something deeply horrifying about people selling their souls and likenesses
That's horrible.
to artificial intelligence
For $100?
For $100. That is, you're going to be going crazy now here. That is apocalyptic.
Yeah.
That is something that happens in a Blade Runner nightmare dystopia world. And that I don't even interact with talking to Chat GPT or every app has some sort of AI talk host that you can ask questions to. I don't interact with that because it's taking my voice, how I talk, and it's using that as free information and it regurgitates it.
Yeah.
There's no part of myself I will ever willingly give up to artificial intelligence. And it genuinely terrifies me that there are people considering selling their faces and likenesses, selling their souls away.
Like, would you sell your social security card for $20?
It's
seriously?
Yeah,
That's horrifying.
They will never have my face as long as I have anything to say about it. And they already do have my face because there's scallies everywhere. But
among grown-ups,
right,
so-called grown-ups, we're always saying that you guys are snowflakes and sensitive and all this stuff, and we're completely wrong. I mean, if you guys are an example of your generation, which is perhaps filled with kindness and hope and the rejection of all that stuff, that's amazing.
And that's where I hope it's heading. I hope
too. I think it's our generation. I think is a lot more accepting too. Like I feel like a lot of social norms have changed. Like I guess personality and visually wise, people can just be who they are without discrimination.
We're really getting closer to that.
Yeah,
hopefully,
Yeah.
But
hopefully that continues.
The whole argument of well, this generation's weak and stuff, and you hear that from some older people, and it's like, I know what. First of all, that's what they used to say about your generation when you were young. That's I honestly don't think anything new is happening between the current older generation and the current younger generation. You can look back and there's studies on this where we've been saying the same thing. These young people have no work ethic and they're all a bunch of babies and
well, they are babies.
Of course they are, and then they'll grow up to be people. Yeah. But that's what they said about everything, and every generation thinks that they're the one special enough to get to see the end, and they say, "Oh, we've got it. This is it. And it's because that's all you've experienced. So why wouldn't you think that?" But every single generation, as far back as time can go, says, society is doomed. We are over.
Yeah.
Everyone said that.
I'm going to ask you because I've heard so many people say this is the end of the world or whatever. And
we've been on the verge of the end of the world for thousands of years, it would seem now. Like I said, I think every generation thinks they're special enough. And not in not thinking in the bigger scale thing. Of course, when you've only experienced your generation, you see all the awful stuff happening.
The human perception.
This is the most, it's over. It's all coming down now and it's only getting worse. But people said it when you were a kid. People said it before you were born. Everyone said this is the end of things. How will humanity recover? And we're all getting worse.
They said it during COVID.
Yeah. They said it during, heading into the golden age of American industrialism. This generation is so weak and doomed, and then that generation grew up to fight in World War II. So I think people are always going to find a way.
Yeah. There's some theories that it's about 75 years before each time. Yep. There's an industrial age, and then there's this, and then there's that. And whatever.
Yep.
I think this is a good point to wrap up. I really appreciate you guys are so kind of honest, and there weren't a lot of pauses. Like, what am I going to ask them? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you our one question. I was
worried about
that. But,
I thought about that.
We
did great.
Greatly appreciate you having us on here. I'm assuming if this is wherever this is posted, we'll have our YouTube channel and Instagram pinned in the description or wherever you may have it. But so we are on YouTube at 4 Fish Pictures. That's 4 FOR. Yeah. FISHPICTURES. Capital F, capital F, capital P.
Hold on.
At YouTube.com.
Start over. Wait. At, as in the symbol
Okay.
at.
Edit this whole part out.
Hold on.
At symbol,
Okay.
capital FOR, capital FISH, capital PICTURES. I'm really bad at spelling out loud. It will be in the description. Surely it will be in the
you can
description.
just click it. You can just click it.
Or it will pop up on the screen. You'll be able to
Something will
find
happen
us.
on YouTube. And
That's great. So is this all are the letters all together, or is
Letters
it
are all together. No faces.
I'm trying to do helpful things for old people
yes.
You know?
We
Yes,
appreciate
I
that.
because they'll watch
No
you.
wacky
Old people who are watching, just scroll a little down.
Anybody over 30.
Anyone over the age of 30, scroll a little bit down, and there's going to be a blue YouTube link and a blue Instagram link. And go click on both of those, and you can see everything we've ever done.
Pull up a little fish picture
And
and be able to
past
watch
30
all
don't
their
wear
stuff.
leather pants. It's
Please,
Exactly.
God,
It doesn't
don't do
work.
that. Yeah.
But let's bring jorts back, because why not?
Jorts are already back.
See how
Jorts have been back.
I'm so behind.
Is that like
love
sports?
Jorts like
No, I know. I mean, is that the same thing? Do you know what a spork is?
What is, spork. I thought you said sports.
Me too.
I don't know if there's
George
jeans,
sports.
jean shorts sport. Yeah, let's bring back jean shorts. Let's bring back jandals. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
Journalists.
Everything.
Thank you again for having us.
Thank you guys. This is
There
amazing.
ain't nothing wrong with me that you can't fix. There ain't nothing wrong with me. A little TLC can't lick. I got last year's body, a couple of dents, but there ain't nothing wrong with me that you can't fix.